Well, so let's talk about battery recycling specifically for the audience because I'm not very familiar with it, and I know there are a lot of lithium-ion batteries coming on the market. People are building battery facilities in the states here, very large facilities, and that's kind of a pretty nasty chemical, when it's done. What does that process look like?
Absolutely. At least in Europe, it's classified as hazardous waste. I guess it's pretty similar in the US and anywhere else in the world. Um, so from that perspective, it's very highly regulated. Typically, the process starts with, I mean, you have some sort of end of life batteries that have fulfilled their usable lifetime, be it in cars, be it in energy storage systems. And they need to be first disassembled, discharged, and disassembled, taken apart essentially, and put into a format that you can mechanically shred them into what we call black mass. Black mass is essentially a shredded battery, very fine composite, and the exact composition depends on then the batteries that you're using. It can be um, uh, for most electric vehicles, it's currently a compound of lithium, nickel, manganese, cobalt. For newer electric vehicles, mainly driven by the Chinese producers, it's iron phosphate, so lithium iron phosphate. Um, and these are then the compounds that need to be taken into their chemical building blocks, essentially. And that happens through metallurgical processes. That can happen in pyrometallurgical, so using heat processes, or in hydrometallurgical processes using liquids. And the end result is always you have some sort of, for example, lithium carbonate or lithium hydroxide, and nickel sulfates, cobalt sulfates that are very, very pure.
Okay, so what you're saying is you take the batteries out of a car. Those batteries, then you take the active material out of the case. For instance, you're not just going to take the case itself and just throw it in a grinder and grind everything up. And then,
Essentially, you try to do it, of course, in as large pieces as possible. Then you have some obviously physical limitations, but certainly you will not try to spend too much manual effort on opening the cells and so forth. One, because it's dangerous and toxic, and secondly, because it's just for efficiency's sake easier to grind them apart.
okay, so that must be some pretty strong grinding processes that you've got there because those batteries are not particularly delicate. And so then there's either a melting process with heat or call it a dissolving process with water to get to the raw components that you're looking for. Is that an accurate description?
Absolutely. And I mean, there's different companies specializing on different parts of that process. We are really coming from the hydrometallurgy. So Scilib is based on a hydrometallurgical process that has certain advantages, especially that it's water based, that fit quite well to the requirements in the European battery ecosystem. And other companies are fully focused on doing the mechanical processing parts and so forth. The market in battery recycling is still quite fragmented overall.
Yeah, that was my next question is what's happening to the batteries that are there now, right? I mean, because there are plenty of those still. Currently, how does that work? Is it battery recycling or do they just get put in landfills?
I think landfills is only a last resort, and practically doesn't happen, just due to the environmental impact of using these batteries. Many companies try to build business models around a second life application. So essentially, using an EV car battery that has spent their EV lifetime, but would still be good enough for some housings, battery storage applications. And then later on, once it's really done, then they are being torn apart and recycled into battery metals. I mean, that does exist. That processes or that industry is already quite advanced in China, particularly, also in other parts of Asia, like South Korea. In Europe and North America,